Hello, my dear students. So let's start with the next concept of the subject, that is application development using Python. So before going into the further concepts, let's recall what we have discussed in the previous videos. In the previous lecture, we have gone through the Python basics, in which we have seen how to install Python, how to execute the simple statements in the Python, how to deal with the interactive shell and the Python script file. And we have also seen how to display the command used to display the contents on the screen, that is using the print statement. And we also have seen how to read the input through the keyboard using the input function. And along with that, we also have seen how to do the type conversions, where the type conversion is going to play a very important role in the Python. So, friends, if you have not gone through these concepts, or if you have not understood, I request you to go through the previous videos and practice as many programs as you can, so that you will be perfect in all these concepts. So, today let's start with the next concept from the first module, that is the chapter 2. Already we have completed the chapter 1 from the first module, and today we are going to start with the second chapter from the first module, that is the flow control. In this chapter, it deals with the various flow state control statements such as if, else, and the else if. It also deals with the loops like for loop and the while loop. And it also covers the using of a module, that is importing the modules and using the built-in methods from the modules. So once completing this chapter, the student will be able to implement Python programs using conditional statements and the loops. So before we proceed into the actual syntax or the types of the control statements that we are going to discuss, let's come to a discussion that what is this control statement, or why do we require the conditional statements. So let me tell you that I don't have to explain you this figure here. So it is said to be as a flow chart, and all of you are very well versed with what is meant by the flow chart. So I hope, assuming that you all know the notations that has been used here for the various purposes here, like the diamond boxes are used for decision making, rectangular boxes are for the executable statements here, whereas the start and end has been noted with the different notations here. So let's not concentrate on these things here. So before we proceed into actual implementation part or the syntax to be used for the various flow control statements, so let's see why do we actually require. So whenever you do with the daily activities, so whatever may be the activity that you are going through, so in every one or the other activity you might come across with the taking a decision based upon the different conditions over there. So the same thing is going to be followed even when you are going to write the programs, when you are going to work in the project, where you'll come with the different scenarios with the different conditions based upon which you are supposed to take some decisions over here. For example, as shown in this figure, the scenario is the weather outside is raining, and if you want to go outside, how you are going to take a decision here. So let's see with this figure itself. So start. So the condition is it a raining? So if it is raining, then one more condition is put here. If do you have any umbrella? If yes, then you can see here the notation used here. If yes, you can directly go outside. If you do not even have the umbrella and outside also it is raining, then you need to wait a while. So once upon, if you wait a while, after that again you are going to check out, is it a raining? If yes, again you need to wait, because you don't have the any other choice. You don't have the umbrella, you need to wait until the rain stops. So if the rain has been stopped, you can go the outside, and that is the end of the scenario over here. So the similar kind of the situation arises whenever you are going to implement the programs, where you need to write a code so that it checks some conditions, and based upon the results of the conditions you are supposed to take some decisions over there. So always whenever you are writing a program, it is always fun that you should have the loops, you should have the control statements. So unless if you are going to work only with the simple executable statements, the programming part is not going to be a fun part, right? So if you want the programming to be a fun learning, then always make sure, or always make a habit of using all these complex things in your program, so that it makes you more interesting, and also the programming part also interesting. So before going into the syntax to be used for the various flow control statements, let's see some of the things which actually require when you start writing the program using the control statements here. So one among that is the boolean values. So what is this boolean value? The boolean itself tells either it is a 1 or a 0, or else in simplicity you can see either the value is true or false. So that means whenever you say that the boolean values, so make sure that it is going to represent either 0 or 1 or the true or false, right? So I think these boolean or values already have studied or you have used in the other programming languages as well. The same purpose is also going to be used here. So you can see here in this previous example, I told you that the decision is going to be made based upon the result of these conditions. So always remember that the results of these conditions is going to be either 1 or 0, that is true or false, which is nothing but the boolean values here. But in Python, how these boolean values are represented? These are represented by true or false. See, one more thing that you need to remember here is whenever you are going to use the true or false in the Python, so the first letter, that is T or F, it needs to be in the capital. So as shown in this example, you can see here spam is equal to true. The boolean values is initialized in the one variable here. So if you print, you can get here true, but you cannot supposed to be directly use this true or false into the executable statement, and neither you can use it on the left hand side of the expression over here. So if at all if you want to do any initialization, make sure that the true and false statements needs to be on the right hand side here. So agenda here is the boolean values are represented in the form of a true and false. These true and false values, boolean values, can be stored in any of the variables. They cannot be directly used on the executable lines here. Neither they cannot be used as a variable names over here. And one more thing, the most important thing is when you use the true and false values, the T and the F needs to be in the capital letter. So the one more important thing in order to work with the conditions is the comparison operators. So along with the boolean values, you all should also have a knowledge of the various comparison operators based upon which the boolean values will be generated and based upon which the condition is going to be checked. So you can see the different comparison operators that are being supported by the Python are listed here. So don't worry, these are not the new thing you are going to see here. These are the same comparison operators that you might have used in the other programming language. The purpose of using these comparison operators is also same as with respect to this Python programming language. So the first one is equal to. This operator is used to check whether the two values are equal. So similarly, the second operator is not equal to, used to check whether the one of the value is not equal to the second value. Third one is the less than, to check whether one of the value is less than as compared to the other. Similarly, so the fourth one is greater, and the fifth one is less than or equal to, and last one is the greater than or equal to. So here you can see the sum of the example has been taken here. So you can see in this example two values has been taken which is of the form integer. So in between them equal to operator has been used. That means we want to check here that whether the 42 is equal to 42. So you need not have to initialize anything. So by default all these comparison operators are going to give you the result in the form of a boolean values only. If they are equal, then it is going to generate the true. If the condition is not satisfied, the value will be generated as a false. For example, you can see in this second example here 42 is equal to 99, which is not true. That's why it generates the result as a false. So the next one is 2 is not equal to 3, it generates as a true. So similarly last one 2 is not equal to 2, in which it needs to be the equal. So that's why we are checking against that condition. So that's why it is generating the value as a false here. So let's execute the same thing. However, you can do the experimentation with all these comparison operators as many times as you want with the different values in the idle. So let me show you the few examples in the idle here. excuse me. So you can see it is generating the true here. So similarly what I'll do, I'll take 42 is greater than 6, so it will generate true. So similarly I'll take 42 is greater than 99, so it is generating false. So pi is not equal to 6, it will generate the true. So like this you can experiment with all the operators and you will get to know what you are going to get as a result here. So do remember here that whenever you use the any comparison operators, you are going to get the result either in the form of a boolean values itself. So let's me check this on a string value here. I'll take a is equal to a, so you're going to get the 12. So why I shown you this example is, don't keep in mind that the comparison operators can be used only on the integers. No, you can also use them on the strings as well. So equal to, it is going to make the comparison between the two values, even though you can use the less than and the greater than options also. So let me see what I'll get as a result here. A is greater than B, will get the false. Why? Because how does this comparison operator is going to work is, it is going to check against the ASCII value of A with the ASCII value of the B. So that means whenever you are going to use the comparison operators on the string literals, so these comparison operators are going to match against the ASCII values of the respective string literals, and accordingly it is going to generate the result here. So do practice with the few more examples so that you can get more familiar with this comparison operators here. So in the next example, as I told you with the A here, again few more examples has been given here just to show you how these comparison operators are going to work here. So you can see here, you can see the hello and this hello is exactly same, and the equal to comparison operator is used. So that's why it is generating the true result here. So in this case you can see the hello with all lowercase letters has been used, but on the right hand side you can see the first H, even though the spelling is same, the first H is a capital here, for which it is not going to give you the same difference value with the ASCIIs. So that's why it will generate the result as a false here. So in the next example, dog is not equal to cat. Of course it is not equal to cat, that's why it will generate the result as a true. So similarly with the rest of the examples here, so you can see here one more example here is 42 is equal to 42.0. so you need not to worry about here, it is a float and it is an integer. Since it is a 0.0, it is going to round off with the exact value, that is 42, and then it will make the comparison and the result will be given as a true here. So in the last example you can see here 42 has been taken on the left hand side, and the 42 in within a single quotes has been taken on the right hand side. That means this 42 will be treated as a string, whereas this 42 will be treated as an integer. So that's the reason why I'll get the value as a false here. So if you want, I'll show you here. 42 equal to 42. So you can see here you will get the result as a false. Why? Because this 42, you can see as it appears in a green color, it is clearly indicating that it is a string literal, whereas the first operand is a integer. So that's why you cannot operate these comparison operators on the two different data types, for which you will get the result as a false by default. Okay, so coming to the next example over here, so as I already shown you that how does the greater than and the less than symbol works here. So you can always experiment with the more number of the values and the more number of the comparison operators here. So there is always being a confusion between the equal to operator and the double equal to operator. So I think in other programming languages also it has been told, or it has been discussed many times, that what is the difference between these two operators. Suppose if you are going to use the double equal to operators, it is said to be as the comparison operator, and if you use the only single equal to operator, it is being considered as the assignment operator. So whenever you are going to assign any values to the variables, at that time you are going to use a single equal to operator, and if you want to perform the comparison between the two values, at that time you can go for using the double to operator. So don't be confused with these two operators here. Excuse me. So coming after the boolean values and the comparison operators, so let's discuss some more operators which are known as the boolean operators here. So boolean operators are and, or, and one more is not. So in the next slide I'm going to explain even that also. So the boolean operators are and, or, and the not. So how does these are going to work is, again the and, or, and not operators are also going to give you the result in the form of the boolean value, that is true or false. So you can see a true and true is there, for which you'll get the result as a true, and the next example you have true and false, for which you will get the false. So how it is defined, or how we are going to decide these boolean operators is, it does has the truth table based upon which it is going to work. Excuse me. Based upon which the boolean operators are being evaluated here. So how does it is going to work? I think you have already studied this in the other programming languages and also in the ADE subject, the truth tables. So for the AND operator, when the result will be true only when both the values are true. So you can see true and true, true. For the rest of the cases you have the false. That means if any one of the operand is false, then at that time you are going to get the result as a false here. So with contrast to this AND operator, how does the OR operator is going to behave? So with contrast to this AND operator, how does the OR operator is going to work? So in the OR operator, if any one of the value is true, then the result is going to be true. And when the result is going to be false, only when both the values are going to be false. You can see a true or true gives true, true or false true, false or true true, and the last case is false. So coming to the last boolean operator, the not operator, so which is going to be acting as a negation of the value here. So you can see not true means it is going to give you the false. If it is a not false means it is going to give you the true. So you can see a not of true is there. So check out how it is evaluated. First it will start from this part. Not true means it is a false, not false true, not true false, and not false means true. So it is going to work in this way. Always you should have a practice of using these, either the comparison operators or the boolean operators. Always these are used in a combination, that is the mixed boolean and the comparison operators are always used in the combined manner. So as an example you can see 4 is less than 5 and 5 is less than 6. So this is also going to be evaluated first. This part will be evaluated, and together it will be evaluated to the results. So let's see how it is done here. So 4 is less than 5, true, and here 5 is less than 6, it is true, right? So true and true, finally will get the result as a true here. So this is how you always need to analyze the things, that how you are going to get the results, if at all, if you are going to use both the boolean and the comparison operators together. So in the next case you can see here 1 is equal to 2, for which the result is true, or 2 is equal to 2, for which again the result is true. So true or true, the result is always true here. Okay. So these are very simple. You might have gone through these kind of examples many times. So let's stop discussion about these things here itself, and let's begin with the the actual syntax or the things that are required for using all these things in the program here, right? So what do you require as a elements for the flow control, or you say the conditional statements? So I want to ask you a question here. So what are the basic elements that you usually require in order to say that you, if you want to write the any conditional statements in the programming language. So not restricted to this Python programming language, I want you people to analyze the things and tell me the what actually you require the elements to be used for writing the conditional statements. So the first element that you require is the condition and the block of the code to be executed based upon the condition. So that means there are only the two elements that you can use for writing the conditional statements here. So flow control statements often start with a part called the condition and are followed by the block of the code called the clause. So before you learn about the Python's specific flow control statements, so I'll show you what is a condition and what are the block here. So condition here refers to using of the any of the Boolean operators or the comparison operators based upon which the Boolean value will be generated. The Boolean expressions you have seen so far could all be considered conditions, which are the same as the thing as expressions. So whenever you use these conditions, do expect that it will result into a Boolean result, that is a Boolean value either true or false, based upon which the control statement is going to be taken a decision whether to execute the set of these statements or not, which is said to be as a block of the codes here. Right. So lines of the Python code can be grouped in together in a blocks, and these are said to be as the blocks of the codes here. So how to start the blocks of the codes in the Python is blocks begin with the indentation and it has to follow the same indentation, and once you want to say that the block is going to end, then you need to decrease that indentation back to the zero. So don't worry, right now I am explaining it with a theoretical part, but I'll show it to you with the execution as well, what are these indentation and how you can make the set of these statements as a block of the codes. This is a very simple example given here. So let me clarify you what are the blocks and what are the indentation over here. So as you can see, you are not new to the if and the else statements here. So the same thing is going to be used in the Python as well. But do remember here what is the syntax to be used here. You don't have the any brackets to be used for the condition here. So if followed by the condition, so here the name is a variable, equal to is a comparison operator, and this is the value where you are comparing, and followed to the condition always you need to end with the colon here. So this is the initial statement, and followed to that next line here you need to have the one tab space which is said to be as the indentation here. So this part is the indentation, so which will distinguish it from the other parts of the lines here. That means this is a statement or else the block of the code which is going to be executed for this if statement here. So what does it indicates? If the name is equal to Mary, then it has to display the result as a hello Mary. So how to get back to the normal flow of the execution, or how to tell that I just want to end this block of the code for this if statement here. So that is done again by decreasing indentation, or you can see the simplest word that you can remember is the margin back to the same indentation that is being followed for the above statement here. So you can see the same indentation is followed. So that tells that this is the only block of the statement that needs to be executed for this first if condition here. So again you can see for the next if password is equal to swordfish colon, and followed by how to tell which block of code to be executed for this if statement. So you need to leave this indentation. So indentation is nothing but the space that you are going to leave to tell that it is going to execute for this if statement, followed to the else again colon and indentation here. So this is how you are going to usually write the block of the statements for in the Python. So in the other programming language, I think you might have the practice of using the braces over there to indicate the block of the statements to be executed for the conditional statements, but in Python you can write it with the indentation here. So let me show you with the execution only here. So I'll just initialize name is equal to with Mary here. So next I'll use the if condition here. If name is equal to Mary. So make sure that whenever you use the if statements, excuse me, use the colon here and press the enter. So you can see already it is showing you the cursor leaving some space as compared to the if statement. So this part is said to be as the indentation here. So I'll print some statement here. Hello, Mary. So I'll once again press the enter key here. So you can see still it is waiting in the same block here. So asking it to few more statements to be entered as a block of the statements to be executed for this if condition here. But right now I'm not interested to include the any more statements in this if block here. So for that, how can I get come out of here? So since it is an interactive shell, I do not have to use any backspace here. I just have to enter, press the enter key one more time. So you can see as soon as I pressed the enter key one more time, it's just got out of this block statement and then it executed it here. So this is how you are going to use the if statements with the indentation. See, once again I am going to tell you that, as I told you in the previous videos, the importance of the type conversions, even the indentation is going to play a very important role in the Python programming language. So do not worry. So you are going to get well versed with this indentation once you practice the more programs. But the thing is that the most of the students or the beginners or the new learners of the Python subject are going to get the error because of this indentation here. So coming to the first if statement or the conditional statement that we are going to discuss is the if statement. So as a flow control statements, we are going to discuss with the three conditional statements, that is if, else and the else if here. So in the if statement here, what is the syntax to be used here? So I'm not going to read out all these lines here. So instead I'll just show you what is the syntax you need to follow in order to use the if statements. So the keyword that is required to use the if statement is if and followed by the condition. No need to use the angle bracket here. I have just included here to make you clear that it is a condition you need to provide here, and followed by the colon, and next the block of the code needs to be written with a proper indentation here, right? So as an example, it has been shown here. You can see here, if name is equal to Alice followed by the colon, and how you have included the set of the block of the statement here, space, print Alice. So the same thing what I have just shown you in the previous slide as well. So the same if how it is going to be executed has been indicated in the flow chart here. So start, it is a condition which is included in the box, name is equal to Alice. If it is true, then it is going to execute this statement, that is print hi Alice. If it is false, it is going to end the execution part itself. So this is the simplest way of writing the conditional statements, where where the program can be written only using the if condition here. So you always do not have the definition or the program agenda to be written in such a way that where you have only the one condition. You might come across with the various different conditions for which you require the some more statements to be used here. So in case this one way, this using usage of the single if statement is said to be as the one way decision here. So if you have the two decisions to be made based upon the condition results, then that is said to be as the if else statements. So only using the if statement is said to be as a one way decision, whereas if you are going to use the both the if and the else, then it is a two way decision where you want to write a code or the decision to be made in the two ways based upon the condition here. So in this example, you can see how it needs to be done: if followed by the condition colon and set of the statements to be executed for this if. And suppose if you want to do something else, if this condition is not satisfied, then that can be written with the keyword else, again followed by the colon, and by following the proper indentation, print the result here. So again, let me show you through the idle only, so that it will be more clear here. If name is equal to I'll just put the other name here. I'll just put it as a Alice. Print hi Alice. See, you can see here, still it is waiting in the same condition, but the else is not with the same indentation here. What I want to do is I want to use the indentation same with the if as with the else here, else followed by the colon. So the indentation that has been used here is not same here. So let me use with this file only, then it will be more clear. Treasure name is equal to Mary. If name is equal to I'll purposely using the another name here, Alice, and make sure that if you are using the if statement, do end it with a colon. And then you can see here it is showing the cursor by maintaining the indentation by default here. So print hi Alice. Right. So here my block of code for the if statement is completed. I want to write the some more else to be done if the condition fails here. So for which I need to follow the same indentation as I did for the if here. So else followed by the colon. Colon is a mandatory, either it is for the if or the else. So once I press the enter, you can see it is again following the same indentation to indicate that this is a block of the statement to be executed for the else part. Hello stranger. So end. So this is the end of the program here. So I'll just want to run it. Okay, so I need to save it first. I'll simply save with some random name here, don't worry. So once I execute, it is showing you the hello stranger here. Why? Because purposely I have checked initialized the name variable with the Mary here, and then I'm checking it for the another string value here. So don't worry about the logic here, just concentrate on the syntax that is being used for the if else statements here. So in the other programming languages, you have the braces to be used for writing the block of the statements for the if or the else part, but here the indentation is the way that is being followed, and the same indentation needs to be maintained within the same set of the block of the statements here. Okay. So this is using the only if condition. This part of the code is said to be as the one-way decision, and if we have the two decisions to be displayed based on the condition fails, if you are going to use the if statement, then it is said to be as the two-way decisions, where you are going to use the if and the else statements. And you have the one more concept as the else if statements, where you can use it for the multi-way decisions. So it is said to be as a multi-way decisions, wherein you, if you want to check the more number of the conditions based upon which you want to take some decisions over there. So let's see how this else if statements is going to work here. So the syntax is going to be same for the all the if conditions and the else conditions here. So if keyword followed by the condition colon, and the indentation to include the set of the blocks here, followed by if we have the more number of the conditions to be checked, the keyword is elif, not else if. So as you use the else if with the other programming languages, in Python it is simply only elif here. So else if for age is less than 12, and then print some result over here. So you can include the as many else if as you can here, but how the flow of execution takes place here? So always it will check for the first if statement, and then it is going for the next else if statements here. Okay, so we'll see the few more examples where we have the more number of the conditions to be checked here, but here a flowchart has been given for the same example what is explained here. So I'm not going to explain this, I'll just skip it. So I want to show you how you can use the more number of the else if statements here. So you can see here, if first if is the name is equal to Alice, if it is satisfied, this will be executed. If it is not satisfied, then it will go for the next part of the execution, next condition being checked here, where the age variable is going to be checked with the value less than 12. And if it is satisfied, the execution stops here itself. If it doesn't satisfy, then it will go for the next condition to be checked. If it's satisfied, again the execution is going to be stopped here, or else the next condition is going to be checked here. So what I mean to say here is the order of these else if statements is not going to play a important role here. Instead, just the same order is going to be followed the way how you have written it here. No matter if you are expecting the last statements to be executed, if the condition is going to be satisfied at the third statement itself, it will be executed here. So that's what I want to show you here. So if the name is not Alice and the age value is 3000 for this example here, so concentrate only on this figure here. If the value of the age is 3000, so it will check the name value is not Alice, so that's why it will check here the age value. As I told you, the input for the age value is 3000. It will check whether age is less than 12. No, then it will check for this condition. Else if age is greater than 100, of course 3000 is greater than 100 also. So that means it is going to execute this statement, that is, you are not Alice granny. But what is your expectation is, since the value of the age is 3000, you are expecting this statement to be executed, but the condition at the third line itself, for the third else if itself is going to be satisfied, this statement will be executed, leaving the further execution here itself. So that's why I'm telling you, while using the else if, make sure your logic needs to follow the same order in order to get the correct result there. If you are willing to say that if the age value is greater than 3000 itself, that means this statement has to appear before this. So the same kind of the examples has been given here. So one more thing here is, here in these previous examples, either you may consider this example or even this example. So you can observe here that you have the if statements, you have the else if as a second part, you have the else if as a third part, and you have the else if. So you don't have the any other ending part here. So what I mean to say here, if none of the conditions is going to be satisfied here, if all the conditions fails here, then what needs to be executed? That part is not covered in this logic here. So that's why the in order to avoid this kind of the confusion, it is always a good way of programming that, suppose if you are using the else if statements, always end the last part with the else, just to tell the execution or the compiler that what needs to be done if none of the conditions is being satisfied over there. So the last part, always it is a good indication, or it is a good habit by the developer to always include the last part. Do not make a mistake of using this else part in between. Suppose if you want to use or end the if conditions where you require using the many else if statements, make sure that the else part needs to be at the last only. Okay. Okay, so the same example has been given in the flow chart here. So the if the age is greater than 3000. I'll tell you the value of the age is 3000 now. So what it does here, starts the name is equal to Alice, it is false, and it will check whether age is greater than 12, no, false. If age is greater than 100, yes, true. That means this will be printed, and this part of the execution is not going to be done even though the age is greater than 2000 here. So that's the reason the order of the else needs to be very careful according to the what logic you want to implement the program. So let me show the same example here with the execution.